The sand burned red under the dying sun. Vexthor dragged himself across the ruined floor of what was once a shelter. His scales, normally dark green and strong, had turned gray and dull. Every breath hurt. Every movement felt like fire in his chest. "Father, please rest," Siren said. Her voice was small but brave. She was only 7 years old, though she tried to act older. Her scales still had some shine to them, unlike his. "I must check the signal," Vexthor coughed. Blood came from his mouth. The radiation from the broken sky was killing him. It was killing all of them. He reached the old communication device. The screen showed the same message it had shown for weeks. Distress signal sent. No response received. The Galactic Council had promised help. They had promised food, medicine, and rescue ships. That was 3 months ago. Nothing came. No ships. No supplies. No answer. Vexthor knew the truth now. They were not going to come. The Council wanted his people to die quietly, forgotten in this wasteland. "Are they coming, Father?" Siren asked. She held a piece of dried meat in her small claws. It was the last of their food. She had saved it for him even though she was hungry too. Vexthor looked at his daughter. She had his eyes, bright yellow like the old sun. She had her mother's gentle spirit. Her mother who died 2 years ago when the radiation storms began. "Eat it, little one," he said softly. "You need your strength. But you need." "I am already gone, Siren." He touched her face gently with one claw. "The sickness is too deep. But you can still survive." Siren's eyes filled with tears, but she did not cry. The Scarthax did not cry easily. They were taught to be strong, to be warriors. But she was just a child, alone on a dying world. Outside the wind howled. It carried poison dust that made breathing even harder. The cities of their people stood empty around them. Millions had lived here once. Now, maybe a few thousand remained, scattered and dying in hidden shelters across the planet. The Scarthax were warriors. They were hunters. Their ancestors had ruled this world with honor and strength. But the galaxy feared them. After one misunderstanding, one fight at a council meeting decades ago, everything changed. The other aliens called them too dangerous and too violent. The council put them under quarantine. They said it was temporary. They said it was for everyone's safety. Then the sun began to change. Something went wrong with the star. Radiation poured down. The atmosphere began to fail. The Scarthax begged for help. They asked to be relocated. They offered to work, to serve, to do anything. The council said they would help. But no help came. Vexthor had been a soldier once. He had protected weaker species from space pirates. He had saved council members during attacks. But now they left him and his daughter to die like animals. "Father, I'm scared," Siren whispered. She moved closer to him. Vexthor wrapped his arms around her, using the last of his strength to shield her from the cold. "I know, my brave girl. I know." He looked at the stars through the broken roof. Somewhere up there, ships moved between worlds. Aliens lived in comfort and peace. They had food and water and clean air. They had everything. And they had decided that the Scarthax did not deserve to live. Vexthor closed his eyes. He could feel his heart beating slower. Maybe hours left. Maybe less. What would happen to Siren when he was gone? She was too young to hunt the poisoned animals. Too small to defend herself from the other desperate survivors. He held her tighter and prayed to the old gods that someone, anyone, would prove him wrong about the galaxy. That someone out there still had mercy. The UNES Perseverance moved slowly through deep space. It was a human exploration ship, looking for new planets and mapping unknown areas. Captain Elena Vasquez sat in her chair on the bridge, watching the stars pass by on the main screen. "Captain, I'm picking up something strange," said Officer Chin from his station. He frowned at his computer. "It's a distress signal. Very weak. Coming from that red planet ahead." "Let me see," Captain Vasquez said. She walked over to look at the data. The signal was old, repeating over and over. It was desperate. Someone needed help. "That planet is marked as forbidden," said First Officer Williams. He pulled up the Galactic Council database. "Says here it's quarantined. We're not supposed to go near it." "Why is it quarantined?" asked Dr. James Park, the science officer. He was young and curious about everything. Williams, read more. "It says the planet is home to the Scarthax. They're listed as dangerous. The Council put them under protection decades ago. No contact allowed." Protection. Engineer Kofi Mensah laughed bitterly. "That distress signal has been running for months. Nobody's protecting them. They're dying down there." Captain Vasquez stared at the planet. It looked sick. The atmosphere was thin and brown. She could see storms of dust covering the surface. Nothing looked alive. "Captain, we should report this to the council and move on," Williams said carefully. "If we break the quarantine we could get in serious trouble. Earth could face sanctions." "Someone is asking for help," Vasquez said quietly. "That signal is still broadcasting. That means someone down there is still alive." "But the rules?" "I didn't become an explorer to follow rules that let people die," Vasquez interrupted. She made her decision. "We're going down. Prepare the landing shuttle." "Captain, this could be dangerous," Williams warned. "The Scarthax are supposed to be warriors. Predators. They're also dying and asking for help," Dr. Park said. "If they wanted to hurt us, they wouldn't be broadcasting a distress call." Mensa nodded. "I agree with the captain. We're humans. We help people. That's what we do." Vasquez looked at her crew. "I won't order anyone to come. This is volunteer only. But I'm going down there." Everyone volunteered. Even Williams, though he looked worried. The shuttle landed near the source of the signal. The ground was covered in red dust. The air outside was poisonous. They had to wear protective suits. Broken buildings stood like dead trees all around them. "This was a city," Dr. Park said sadly, scanning the ruins. "A big one. Millions must have lived here." They followed the signal to a half-collapsed building. Inside it was dark and cold. Captain Vasquez turned on her light. She saw movement in the corner. There. A large shape lying on the ground. It was Vexthor, barely breathing. His scales were gray and cracked. He looked like death itself. And behind him, small eyes glowed in the darkness. "Siren." The child hissed and showed her teeth. Even though she was tiny and weak, she stood between the humans and her father. She was trying to protect him. "Easy, easy," Vasquez said softly. She held up her hands to show she meant no harm. Vexthor's eyes opened slowly. He saw the humans and tried to speak. His voice was like broken glass. "No, trick, please, no more." "We're not here to trick you," Vasquez said. She removed her helmet, breathing the poisoned air through her suit's emergency system. It was risky, but she wanted him to see her face. To see she was real. "We're humans. We heard your signal. We came to help." Vexthor stared at her. In all his years, the council had sent no one. And now these strange aliens, these humans, risked their lives to come here? "Why?" he whispered. "Because you asked for help," Vasquez said simply. "And we don't leave people behind." Getting Vexthor onto the shuttle was hard. He was big and heavy even though he was dying. Siren hissed and snapped at anyone who came near him. She did not trust these strangers yet. "Little one, please," Vexthor whispered weakly. "They want to help." Siren looked at her father, then at the humans. Her yellow eyes were full of fear and anger. But she stepped aside. On the ship, Dr. Park and Medic Lou worked quickly. The medical bay was not made for reptile aliens. All their equipment was designed for humans. They had to guess and improvise. "His blood is full of radiation poison," Dr. Park said, looking at the scanner. "His organs are failing. I don't know if we can save him." "We have to try," Captain Vasquez said firmly. Engineer Mensa pulled up files from the planet's old database. "Look, I found Scarthax medical records. Their biology is different from ours, but not completely. Maybe we can adapt our treatments." They worked for hours. Vexthor lay on the medical bed, barely conscious. Siren sat in the corner, watching everything. She would not leave. She would not eat. She just watched with those bright yellow eyes. "She's scared," Medic Lou said softly. "Poor thing." Lou approached Siren slowly. She carried a food tray. The child growled low in her throat. "It's okay," Lou said gently. She sat down on the floor, making herself small and non-threatening. "I'm not going to hurt you. You must be so hungry." Siren stared at her. The food smelled good. Her stomach hurt from hunger. "I have a daughter too," Lou continued, talking in a soft voice. "She's about your age. Her name is Maya. When she's scared, I sit with her just like this." Siren tilted her head. These humans were so strange. They were small and weak. They had no claws or scales. But they were trying to save her father. The council had left them to die. These strangers came. Slowly, carefully, Siren reached out and took a piece of food. She ate it quickly, then took more. Lou smiled. "Good girl." Over the next few days, something amazing happened. The human treatment started to work. Vexthor's breathing became easier. His color improved slightly. He was not cured, but he was not dying anymore. When he finally woke up fully, he saw Siren sleeping next to Captain Vasquez's chair. The captain was reading reports, and his daughter was curled up against her like she trusted her completely. "What have you done?" Vexthor asked in wonder. "We gave you medicine," Dr. Park explained. "You're going to survive. It will take time, but you'll heal." Vexthor could not believe it. "What? Why would you do this? You do not know us. Your people are not part of our history." Captain Vasquez came over. Siren woke up and immediately moved to her father's side, checking if he was truly okay. "We're humans," Vasquez said. "We believe that all life has value. We don't care what the council says. You needed help. We gave it. It's that simple." "The council will punish you," Vexthor warned. "They do not want us to survive." "Then they'll have to deal with us," Mensa said with a grin. Vexthor felt something he had not felt in years. Oh, and something else. Gratitude so deep it hurt. "My people have a word," he said slowly. "Honorkin. It means family not by blood but by loyalty. By bonds that cannot break. You have shown us mercy when the galaxy showed us death. You are Honorkin now." "We're honored," Vasquez said, and she meant it. Over the following days, Vexthor told them everything. The truth about his people. How they were not monsters. How they refused to fight in the Council's wrong wars. How the Council punished them by abandoning them. "There are others," he said sadly. "Thousands still alive in shelters across the planet. All dying slowly." Captain Vasquez made a call to Earth. "We need every ship you have. We're not leaving anyone behind." The Galactic Council was not happy. 3 days after the rescue, they sent an angry message to the Perseverance. "You have violated quarantine laws," the Council representative said. His name was Ambassador Thalkas, a tall blue alien with 4 eyes. "Return the Scarthax immediately or face serious consequences." Captain Vasquez stood in front of the communication screen. Behind her, Vexthor and Siren watched quietly. "No," Vasquez said simply. Thalkas looked shocked. "Excuse me?" I said no. "These people are under our protection now. We're not handing them over to die. The Scarthax are dangerous criminals." "They're refugees," Vasquez interrupted. "And I've seen your records. I know what you did." Dr. Park had been busy. He hacked into the old Council databases with Vexthor's help. What they found made everyone angry. The Council knew the planet was dying. They knew thousands of Scarthax were trapped there. They had the ships and medicine to save them. But they voted to do nothing. They wanted the Scarthax to disappear quietly. "You left 12,000 people to die," Vasquez said coldly. "You're the criminals here, not them." The message spread across human space quickly. Earth was furious. The human government demanded answers. They sent ships toward Karseth Prime, ready to evacuate every survivor. The Council responded by sending a military blockade. 20 warships surrounded the planet. The message was clear: humans were not welcome. "They will start a war over this," First Officer Williams said nervously. He looked at the warships on the scanner. "We're just one exploration ship. We can't fight them." "We won't have to," Mensa said. He was monitoring communication channels. "Look, other species are talking about this. They're asking questions." It was true. Across the galaxy, people were hearing about the Scarthax. Many remembered them as honorable warriors. Some species owed them debts from long ago. The Chitkar, an insect-like race, announced they would help. The Scarthax had saved their world 50 years ago from pirates. More species joined. Not all of them, but enough. Then Siren did something unexpected. "I want to speak," she told Captain Vasquez. "To everyone. To the whole galaxy." "Are you sure?" Vasquez asked gently. "It might be scary." Siren nodded. Her eyes were determined. "They need to hear the truth." Dr. Park set up the transmission. Siren stood in front of the camera. She looked so small and young. But when she spoke, her voice was strong. "My name is Siren. I am 7 years old. I watched my mother die from radiation sickness 2 years ago. I watched my friends die. I watched my father dying. We asked the Council for help. We begged. They said they would come. They never came." Her voice cracked a little, but she continued. "Then humans came. Strangers. People we never met before. They risked their lives. They broke your laws to save us. They gave us medicine. They gave us hope." She paused. "The Council knew us for 100 years. They left us to die. The humans knew us for 1 day. They saved us. So I ask you, Galaxy, who are the real monsters?" The transmission went out everywhere. Every planet, every station, every ship. People watched a child asking a simple question. A question with no good answer. The galaxy erupted. Protests started on Council worlds. People demanded justice. Some species threatened to leave the council completely. The carefully maintained order was falling apart. "You have caused chaos," Ambassador Thelkas said angrily in another transmission. "No," Vexthor said, stepping forward. "You caused this when you chose cruelty over mercy. When you let fear control you." The humans simply showed everyone the truth. The council called an emergency vote. They could not fight a war with half the galaxy turning against them. They could not ignore the protests and anger. After 3 days of arguing, they voted. The quarantine was ended. The Scarthax were free. The human fleet, joined by ships from 12 other species, broke through the blockade peacefully. The rescue mission could finally begin. The rescue ships landed across Karseth Prime like a metal rain. Human ships, Chikar vessels, and others from species who answered the call. They spread out across the dying planet, searching for survivors. Vexthor guided them from the Perseverance. He knew where the hidden shelters were, where families had fled when the radiation got worse. His voice cracked when he gave coordinates to his old city, where his wife was buried. The rescue was hard. Many Scarthax were too sick to move. Some had died just days before help arrived. The medical teams worked without stopping. Human doctors learned quickly how to treat radiation sickness in reptilian biology. They shared everything they learned with the other species helping. Siren went down to the planet with Captain Vasquez. She was still small, but the other Scarthax children trusted her. When they were scared of the strange aliens, she told them, "It's okay. The humans are friends. They came for us. They really came." Over 6 weeks, they evacuated 8,217 Scarthax. It was not all 12,000. Many had not survived the wait. But 8,000 was 8,000 lives saved. 8,000 who would have died alone in the dark. The council watched in silence. They could do nothing now. The galaxy was watching them. Vexthor was offered a choice. The Scarthax could return to their planet once it was cleaned and healed. Or they could settle elsewhere. Most chose to scatter across the galaxy, finding new homes with species who welcomed them. But Vexthor was offered something special. Earth wanted him as an ambassador to the Galactic Council. To speak for those who had no voice. To make sure what happened to his people never happened again. "I accept," he said. "But Siren comes with me." "Of course," the Earth president said. "She's part of this story too." The Scarthax and humans formed a bond that day. An alliance built on trust and mercy. The Scarthax swore to defend humanity if they were ever threatened. The humans promised to never abandon their honor kin. Years passed. Karseth Prime was slowly healing. Human scientists and Scarthax engineers worked together to fix the atmosphere, to clean the radiation, to bring the dead world back to life. It would take decades, but it was happening. Siren grew up. She was no longer the scared child in the dark shelter. She joined Earth's combined fleet as an officer. She was the first Scarthax to wear a human uniform. Many others followed her example. On the 10th anniversary of the rescue, a memorial was built on Karseth Prime. It stood in the center of the old capital city, now being rebuilt. Representatives from across the galaxy came to the ceremony. Siren stood next to Maya Lu, Medic Lu's daughter. They had become best friends over the years. 2 young women from different worlds, united by their parents' courage. Captain Vasquez was there too, now an admiral. Vexthor stood tall and proud, his scales healthy and strong again. He had become one of the most respected voices in the council. Siren stepped forward to speak. The crowd grew quiet. "My father taught me something," she said. Her voice carried across the gathering. "True strength is not in claws or weapons. It is not in fear or power. True strength is in those who stand for others when no one else will." She looked at the humans in the crowd. At Admiral Vasquez. At the Lu family. At all the people who risked everything. The humans showed us what civilization really means. Not rules and laws and fear. But compassion. Mercy. Courage. She smiled. They showed the galaxy that we are better together than apart. That no one should be left behind. The memorial was unveiled. It showed a human and a Scarthax standing together looking at the stars. The inscription read, "They were strangers. They became family. Let this be remembered forever." Vexthor put his hand on his daughter's shoulder. He looked at the stars, the same stars he once thought held no mercy. He was wrong. Mercy existed. It just wore a human face.